So here I have written the polynomial addition. I'll explain how I written this. Then I'll say str underscore str self. Then I'll say return. Join self dot poly. Okay, let me first execute this. So this is the class file. So I'll execute this class file. I have only simple activities here. So this I don't require. So I'll compile class file. So it is okay. Now I'll take one polynomial first. I'll check whether it is working fine or not. I'll take polynomial P1 or okay, P1 equals to polynomial. I'll pass some data list, like same thing I'll pass whatever available here. So 3, 7, I'll take one notepad. Take that so that it is easy for us to check whether it is working fine or not. So what I'll do is I'll take this first 3, 7, the first one, coefficient 3 power 7, then 5, 4, then 7, 2, then 20, 0. So this is first polynomial. I'll take this and check whether it is getting executed fine or not. Take this. I'm passing this. Then I'll say print P1. Check what we are getting. So expected str instance tuple found join self poly. Okay, I'll say here here what I'll do is I'll say list map self poly str self poly. We'll see whether we are getting fine or not. I'll execute this again. So let's execute this. So now it is, we are getting fine. So I'm getting the data, whatever I have kept, it is available in the form of a string. Similarly, I'll take second polynomial. So second polynomial, I'll take from here only. So I'll take this. So second polynomial is 2, 6. 2, 6. Then 3, 4. Then 6, 1. Then 5, 0. So I'll take this as second polynomial. So P2 equals to polynomial. Then I'll copy this. So second polynomial is created. So I'll print this, print P2 also. We'll check first it is executed fine or not. So we are getting 2, 6, 3, 4, whatever we have entered, that we got. Now what I'll do is I'll say poly P3 equals to P1 plus P2. Then print P3. If I add these two, what should be the result? If I add these two, now first, when I take the first term, 3, I'll take first term, P1 power is 7. So I have to take as it is. It is greater than second power. Then comparison is 4 and 6. So P2 is more. So 2 and 6 I'll take here. Then 5, 4, 3, 4. In this case, I have to add 5 and 3, which is 8, 4, which is 8, 4. Then 7, 2 I have to take as it is. Then 6, 1 I have to take as it is. Then 25, 0 I have to take. 25, 0. So this is the output we should get. This is the output we should get. We'll check whether we are getting this or not. I'll copy this and check there. So when I execute this now, so it is giving the result or error. I think there is error. It is not subscriptable polynomial object. So where poly, where is the error? Self other J1. Oh, sorry. Here I have to say poly. One mistake. Okay, I'll correct it. It is not self.I, self.poly I. Okay, that is the mistake. So dot poly. Everywhere there should be poly. So that is one mistake. So I'll correct it. They're also same. They're also same. So then here also same. Then here also same. Here also same. Then so here. Now I think it should be correct. We'll see. So I have to recompile this and ready for execution. I'll execute this. So we got the result. Now check whether it is matching with our result, whatever we have calculated manually. So I have to take, this is the manual calculation. I'll take this, copy here. So check 372684726125 we are getting. So here our main aim here is, say we are adding two polynomials as if they are integers. We are adding two polynomials as if they are two integers. That is the main aim of operator overloading. That is the aim of operator overloading. So we got it with add method. So similarly, we can do for subtraction. Subtraction, once you do add, subtraction is not that much difficult. Just let me explain this first. addition, how I am doing. Logic, it is better to explain. So I'm taking these two terms that I'll do it again. This is the program. So we'll reduce the size. Can we reduce the font? Okay, here what I'm doing, I'll check the logic, will see the logic. Okay, I'll take this part instead of XYZ. I'll take this. So I'll take this one and I'll use this logic. So here, okay. So I'll take so this is the okay. I'll take code here. So here, this is when you take this one, this is 3x power 7, first one plus 5x power 4 plus 7x square plus 20. This is the first one, P1, and P2 is 2x power 6 plus 3x power 4 plus 6x power 1 plus 6x or 6x power 1, 5. This is the one. So I'm taking resultant poly here. Here, resultant poly, which will be kept here. And first I'm checking I value I'm taking here. This is I to refer the first poly, which is this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and J to refer second polynomial 0, 1. I'll take a different color for second. So J to refer, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Now what I am doing is I'm checking I1 means 1, I means zeros 1 power of this, and J second poly is power. I'm checking whether they are same. They are not same. If they are same, we have to add the coefficients. We have to add here the coefficients will be in 0th position. This is coefficient. This is coefficient. We have to add. If not, I'm checking which one is greater. Whether i's polynomial is greater, otherwise I means first polynomial is greater or second polynomial is greater. In this case, first polynomial is greater. Then what I am doing is I am copying this into this. So this what I will do is I'll say 3x power 7 plus. Now I have already processed this. So I'll pause, increment only I'll move to this. Now I is not 0, I is 1. Now the comparison is between these two, 4 and 6. Because I is 1, power is 4, j is 0, power is 6. Now they are not same, powers are not same. Then i's power is greater than second one's power, no. Then second polynomial, I'll add second polynomial's value is 2x power 6. Then j will move to the next one. Now I is 1, j is 1. Now powers are same, 4, 4, powers are same. When powers are same, then I'm adding these two. So I0 plus poly J0. So when I add these two, it will be 8. 8 power as it is, I'll take x power 4. Then that is how it continues. Now when it is added, both ij I move because they are processed. Now I becomes 2, j becomes 2. Now again comparison is made. This is 7x square. Then I is moved to this. Then 6, 0. This is 6x. Then j will come here. Now powers are same. So this is 25. So this is the logic I am doing. This is the logic for polynomial addition. So I'm adding it. Similarly, I can do subtraction. If I want to do subtraction, same logic, wherever plus is there, keep it minus. That's all. So for addition, what I have to do? For addition, I have to make underscore for subtraction, I have to make underscore sub instead of add. I'll take this from here, everything I'll take. Add, I'll copy as it is. Up to here, I'll copy. And I'll keep it here. In place of add, I'll keep subtract. In place of add, I'll keep subtract here. So I'll keep subtract. SUB subtract. Then same thing. Only thing here is I have to subtract if polynomial is same. Power is same, I have to subtract. Otherwise, remaining things are same. So now what I'll do, I'm taking P3 goes to P1 plus P2. Then I'll take P4 equals to P1 minus P2. P1 minus P2. Now I'll say print P4. Now subtraction of this will also be obtained. So somewhere some mistake here. Polynomial and polynomial, what it is saying, unsupported operand. Oh, I had to compile that. I did not compile. So until unless that subtract function is added, so this I should first compile the class. So I'll be compiling. Now they add the subtract function is added. Now I'll execute this. So I'll execute this. Now I'll get still some error. Unsupported operand types for now. What? Oh, why add is not copied? Okay, I'll copy it. So add subtract. Now it is copied. Okay, now I'll compile again. So now I'll check. If I execute this. So I'm getting result now. See, same thing here when powers are same 4, 4, 5 minus 3, 2, I'll get. Here 20 minus 5, 15. So we are getting correctly. There is this we are getting correctly. This is for addition of two polynomials, and this is for subtraction of two polynomials. So this is how we use the operator overloading to make the objects behave like ordinary variables. So we got it. Then we can also use this operator overloading with operator overloading to compare two objects. Like suppose I have one class, I'll take one more class here, class person, with one constructor I'll take, which is underscore init underscore. Then I'll pass name and age as parameters. So I'll say self dot name equals to name, self dot age equals to age. Now I'll do printing str definition underscore str. This is common because it whenever we want to print the object, this we must define. So self. So I'll say here return formatted here name self dot name is age self dot age. This I'm returning in a format. Now here my intention is to check whether two persons are having one person is older than the other person. So for that, what I'll do is I'll take greater than or equal greater GT greater than. So self and other self comma other. Now here I want to check whether one person is greater than other. So how we check one person is greater than other? For my this requirement, if age is greater, I'll say that person is greater. So I'll say return self dot age is greater than other dot age. Similarly, for less than, I'll do this less than self comma other. So here return. Here spelling mistake. Self dot age less than other dot age. So this is next equals to I'll check define. So I can compare like this. Equal EQ self dot self comma other. Now I'll say return self dot age equals to other dot age. So this are I have all comparisons. Now this is the class I have defined. So I have a constructor, then I have str method to display the data. Then I'll create the objects persons. So I'll say person E1 person 1 equals to person. I'll create three persons. Like first I'll say Kohli with age 33. Then P2 equals to person. I'll say Dhoni 40. Then I'll say P3 equals to person I'll say Rohit 33. Suppose if I take this. Now what I'll do is I'll check whether Dhoni is elder than Kohli or not. So what I'll do is if P2, so normally I cannot simply compare P2 greater than P1. So P2 greater than P1. This is possible because I have that grade GT. So this is not possible normally because there is I have defined this. I can compare this objects as if they are numbers. So here what I'll do is print P1, sorry, P2 is older than I'll keep this here simply. I'll keep entire thing in brackets so that it looks good. So P2 is older than P1. Sorry, not plus, I'll say comma. Otherwise, else I'll say P1 is older than or P1 is older than P2. Similarly, I'll compare between P1 and P3. So what I'll do if P1 equals to P3, then I'll say equals to P2. I'll say print P1 comma P2 or of same age. So now I'll execute this. Now I'll check what is happening. So there is error here. Sorry, I have to use colon. I'll execute. So now it is executed. Now it is saying Dhoni age 40 is older than Kohli age 33. Sorry, here P1, P3. I have to compare these three. So Dhoni age 40, why it is okay? I have to compile this again. I'll compile this. Now I'll execute this. See here, it is saying name Dhoni age 40 is older than name Kohli age 33. Then name Kohli age 33, name P1, P3. Sorry, P3 had to some mistake here. So I had to write P3. Again, I'll execute. So first one is correct. Second one, name Kohli age 33, name Rohit age 33 are of same age. So here, how I am able to compare like this? It is possible because of this overloaded methods, overloaded operators. So because of this methods, we are able to overload those relational operators. So overloading can be applied with arithmetic operators or relational operators. So that is how it make the objects like person I am comparing. P1 is greater than P2. What is my requirement here? I may check then suppose I may take some profession or I may take age. Here in this particular example, I'm taking age as a parameter to compare whether one person is greater than the other person. It is up to the requirement of the problem. You can choose anything. Here, this is as per this requirement. I'm comparing and I'm saying. I'm comparing the two persons with different ages. So this is actually the way we use the operator overloading. Here I have used Here I have used the addition and subtraction with polynomials, and I'm making two polynomials look like, behave like integers. Similarly, here I'm making two persons compared like integers directly. So this is the use of operator overloading. This is one more concept related with related with object oriented programming in Python. The next concept, which is very important concept, is inheritance. So next is inheritance. So when you take the entities, so these entities I've given what is entity. Entity is a tangible one which can be seen, noticed, or felt. So I told you the object-oriented programming. The object-oriented programming reflects the real world environment. Reflects the real world environment. So not only the entities are represented like in real world, but and also the relationship between the entities. Now suppose if I take some entities like suppose person is one entity, then suppose uh, employee is another entity, then suppose vehicle is one entity, then vehicle is one entity, car is another entity, engine is another entity. Now if I take these entities, whatever relationship in real world that is there, the same relationship can be established in programming with the help of object oriented programming. Now, normally in object oriented programming, there are two kinds of relationship. One is inheritance. Another one is aggregation. Aggregation or composition. This is also called as composition. Now, when I take this inheritance is a natural, see the natural relationship, whatever is there between the entities, that will be reflected. So inheritance, when you take, it is natural is a relationship. Natural is a relationship. Now, when you take aggregation, it is natural has a relationship or part of relationship. What I mean to say is, see, you can have inheritance and aggregation. Don't go for creating inheritance just to have inheritance in the program. Just don't set inheritance relationship between the two classes. Like suppose vehicle and engine, I may set vehicle engine some inheritance relationship, but it is not correct. If you want to build inheritance between two classes, check whether is a relationship is applicable between the two classes or it is giving some meaning to the sentence, then go for inheritance. If it is not giving meaning, check whether has a relationship is giving any meaning. If so, go for has a relationship. Otherwise, there will not be any relationship. Now, if I take person and employee, I can just check employee is a person. So this is a meaningful relationship. So I can say employee is a person. Yeah, there is some meaning. There is some logic. Similarly, when I take car is a vehicle. Car is a vehicle. So there is meaningful relationship. Now, when I take vehicle, vehicle is engine, an engine. There is no meaning in this. Vehicle cannot be an engine, or engine is a vehicle. This is also meaningless. It is not forming any meaning. That means you cannot set is a inheritance between these two. You cannot set inheritance. Most of the time in programming, inheritance is wrongly set. So when you are setting the inheritance wrongly, then the entire design will be wrong. So to check whether real term relationship is working fine with the entities, if so only you go for that particular relationship. So if you take vehicle and engine, if you try to set inheritance, it is meaningless, because when I take vehicle is an engine, there is no meaning in that. Engine is a vehicle, there is no meaning. So, but if I take instead of vehicle is a engine or engine is a vehicle, instead of that, now I can take. So now when I take. So when I take vehicle and engine, I can set, I can have use this has a or part of relationship, check whether it is working fine or not. So if I take vehicle has an engine, so there is meaning. Or engine is part is engine is part of vehicle. So this is meaningful. This is meaningful. Then we can go for aggregation. Then we can go for aggregation. How to have an aggregation, how to have inheritance, we'll see. So this is how we have to set. Suppose if I take some entities, like suppose if I take book, I have book and I have vehicle. Now I cannot set any kind of relationship between them. I cannot set any kind of relationship between them. It is not necessary that when there are two entities present, there should be a relationship. Similarly, when I take suppose student and book. So what I can say is student has a book. So there is meaning. So I can make this. So I can make this relationship. So whenever you want to set a relationship between the two entities, check whether natural is a relationship is forming or not. If it is forming, go for inheritance, and check whether natural part of a relationship is forming or has a relationship is forming. Then go for aggregation. Go for aggregation. Normally, when you take inheritance, what happens is so when I say inheritance, inheritance is represented in this form. So suppose when I take class A, or I'll give the same classes. So I'll take the suppose vehicle, car. Vehicle, car. So it is represented, inheritance is represented like this. Sometimes the arrow is opposite in some notations. Some notations arrow is from higher class to lower class. Anyway, it's okay. So the class which is above in the hierarchy is called as base class or parent class or super class. There are different names. So this is inheritance relationship. It is represented like this, inheritance relationship. So when you have the in the diagram inheritance, above class is base, parent, super class, and this is the below class is subclass. If it is base, it is subclass. If it is parent, this is child class. If it is super, this is if it is base, it is derived class. So if it is base, it is derived class. It is parent child class. If it is super, it is subclass. It is subclass. So this is inheritance. So the above class is base and bottom class is derived, and this is called as generalized class, and this is called as specialized class. Specialized. So vehicle, if I take it, is more general. Now, if I further extend this relationship, it is not necessary that there will be only one level relationship. So I may write a relationship like this. So several relationship, like I can say vehicle is one thing I can represent. Then I may take further if I want to be more detail I want to have. So I'll say two-wheeler. I'll say four-wheeler. I want to have two types of vehicles. Now in this four-wheeler, there may be some others like present, but I want to have a car. See, all if you take, there should be natural. So I can say four-wheeler is a vehicle, car is a four-wheeler. So that should be there. Otherwise, the diagram or whatever I'm doing is wrong. Now, car, what I'll do is I'll take. So I'll take car here. Now car, I'll further divide. Now I can say Maruti. Then I'll say suppose Hyundai. Now if I further go down, so I'll say suppose Desire. Suppose I'll take Brezza. Now what you can observe here is this is the keep on this is the relationship which we have maintained from top to bottom. Now if you go up in the hierarchy, this is called as when you have multiple relationship, this we call it as hierarchy. So hierarchy is formed with the help of inheritance. Now if you go above in the hierarchy, it is more generalized. If you go down in the hierarchy, it is more specialized. So if I take vehicle is more general one. I don't know what type of vehicle it is. If I go further down, four-wheeler, somewhat specific, but still generalized. If I further go down, car, somewhat specific. In the car, if I further go down, Maruti, more specific. Maruti still, you can say generalized. If I come bottom of this, so Desire is very specific. I'm clear about the detail. So whenever we have inheritance, I can form a hierarchy when you have a multiple inheritance like this. Then when I take this inheritance, hierarchy represented with the help of inheritance, the classes which are above in the hierarchy are generalized, and the topmost class is very generalized class, and bottommost classes are very specialized classes. So Desire, Brezza, very specialized. Now if I go top in the hierarchy, top in the hierarchy, vehicle is very generalized class, So why I am telling this, you'll be knowing when we see one concept called abstract class, because we require the generalized classes to represent the abstract class. So in hierarchy, there will be generalized classes above in the hierarchy and specialized classes below in the hierarchy. So this is one kind of setup we can have, or hierarchy we can have. Now what happens when it is inheritance is, so if I take just now I'll take some simple classes, not real-time classes. A, and I'm creating B from this, from A. So this is parent class or super class. This is child class. Now, when I take this is inheritance relationship. Now, when I take some properties, now this class will have properties and behavior. There may be property A1, property A2. There may be some display functionality. Now, here all these properties and behavior of parent class will be available to the child class through inheritance. That means naturally we inherit properties of our parents. So here also the child class will inherit all the properties of the parent class. To be specific, it is not all that we'll see which will not be inherited, but we say the child class will inherit the properties of the parent class. Now B may have its own properties, B1, B2. There may be something like process. Now when I take B class will have its own properties like B properties and behavior like B1, B2 process. In addition to its own properties and behavior, it will also get the properties and behavior from parent. Now, even though I'm not mentioning here display A1, A2, but because we are applying inheritance here, so A1, A2 display will be made available to this. A1, A2 display will be made available to this. So this is how inheritance will occur. So the parent class properties and behavior are made available to the child class, but the opposite is not true. Opposite is not true. B1, B2 process will not be made available to A. A is parent class and B is child class. Parent class properties and behavior will come to child class, but not in the opposite direction. That means child class properties and behavior will not come to the parent class. So this is one very important point to note. So this is how we actually create the child classes and the parent classes. But if you want to create the inheritance relationship, aggregation I'm not given. We'll see a little later. First, let me have inheritance. So when I take, if I have a class A, and I have defined the constructor underscore init underscore here self. I may just say self dot A1 equals to some 10, self dot A2 equals to 20. Okay, I'll have only this. I don't want to have other things. Just I want to make the thing simple. So I'll create class B. So if I want to inherit properties of A and B, so what I have to do is class B A. This is the child class. This is the parent class. Now when I take define here, define underscore init self. Now self dot A1 equals to B1 equals to 5, self dot B2 equals to 6. Now when I take define here display self. Now this can access self dot A1, self dot A2, self dot B1, self dot B2. So all properties are made available to this. So this is how the parent child class can be created. Parent child classes can be created in Python. So I'll take simple AB classes only before we take one box and color box examples. So I'll take simple classes. So I'll take, so class A, so define underscore underscore init underscore self dot A1 equals to 10, self dot A2 equals to 5. So that's all I want to have. Class B, A. Then define underscore underscore init underscore self dot B1 equals to 20, self dot B2 equals to 25. I'll try to print all directly. Define display I'll say okay, I'll say print A1 self dot A1 comma self dot A2 comma self dot B1 comma self dot B2. I'll try to do it, but we'll see, because we have to call the parent class constructor. So this is the class I have created, parent and child. So it is created. Now what I'll do is, so I'll case B1 equals to B. I'll create, then print B1 display. Now we'll see what is going to happen. Sorry, here I have to say display. A self that I'm missing. I'll execute this. I'll execute, first I have to execute this. Then I'll execute this. So still there is error, I think. Object no attributes A1. 1 minute here. I'll explain that later. Just one thing we have to do here. Okay, 1 minute. So here we have to say super dot init. So I'll execute this. I'll execute this. B1. So self. So I'll say here super. Yeah, now it is coming. So some slight mistake there. So here now when I take display, I'm getting both the properties A1, A2, B1, B2. So B is getting, so A has A1, A2. B is inheriting class A. So in addition to B1, B2 of its own, it is getting A1, A2. To initialize those properties, I have to call this constructor. So that is that I'll explain. So one thing what it is what you should know is the properties of base class or parent class will be made available to the child class. Properties of the base class will be made available to the child class. How they are made? They are